Happy Thursday! Thank you for joining me here. Tonight we are going to do some free motion quilting on another one of our blocks here. So thanks for joining me here. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make cute embroidery kits for the beginning crafter. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 9:30 Eastern and 6:30 Pacific. And it's a time that we can just relax and craft. I'm here for about an hour and I work on projects from beginning to end, so you can be part of the whole process along the way. Ask your questions, just come hang out, and we will just chill and make something. So tonight, you guys, we are continuing on the Splendid Sampler 2 Quilt-along. We took a break from making actual blocks so we could sew them together and quilt them. So here's I think the one that we're going to work on tonight. Over the past couple days, we have quilted this design here. So we did all this quilting. This is what we're going to do today. And we also did the quilt as you go process and attached this the 4 squares onto another block. So we did it by this sashing piece. We have this little back piece that held it together, and we also attached this other side that we had done as well from earlier. So that's, again, attached with that sashing and that kind of sashing binding piece on back. So if you want to see this process, I mean, we are literally quilting this as we go. We are not going to have to quilt this when we're done with the whole quilt. We're doing it as we make the quilt. It is just kind of a magical little process. So this little piece is all we have to quilt. We don't have to quilt the entire thing. So check out the last couple days on YouTube if you want to see that process. We will also be doing that process tomorrow, assuming we finish quilting this guy tonight, which I think will be totally fine doing that. So, all right, let's prep this for quilting, and we'll do some free motion quilting. So if there's any question you have for free motion quilting, that's where you sew on the sewing machine and you are moving the fabric around instead of the sewing machine moving it for you, and you can just draw designs just based on how you move the fabric. That is what we're gonna do tonight. I am learning and playing with new ideas for this, so if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm gonna flip you around. Let's get started tonight. All right, I got the old machine back up here. I have my table waiting for me here, my extension table. That just makes my surface even. You know, instead of it jumping down to the table surface, it makes my whole surface even with the top of my sewing machine here. That's going to be helpful for free motion quilting because, you know, we're going to want to move this around. I don't want it drooping over the sewing machine. All right, so first up, you know, I have 2 done. So let me just kind of update you on this process. So as we work through the Splendid Sampler 2, that book, we are making 6.5-inch blocks. So here are some of the blocks I have just like waiting, finished. They're on hand. They are ready to go. Once we have a few of these ready to go, we have been sewing them into blocks of 4. So they're the 4 blocks here, and then I've added some sashing, which is like an inside border. So just a little itty bitty. This is like a 1/2 inch once it's in here, and a little square. So we have the 4 blocks, and then our sashing with the little square. These are called cornerstones when they're in a quilt like this. So I have this one ready to go, and I have this one ready to go, another 4 blocks. And I was thinking we'd work on this one today for the only reason that it has like this droopy like willow, and I love doing the feathers with free motion quilting. It's one of the things I'm learning, and let's see. So for example, like here are some feathers, And I just think they're so pretty, and they look as if you know, like you totally know what you're doing. They just feel like fancy to me, really. So I thought it would be fun to have some drooping sort of feathers come off of here, and I liked that idea, so that's kind of where I'm starting at here. I also like the idea of maybe stitching around this elephant and maybe giving him like a little, oh, maybe a balloon. Ooh, let's do that. So I was thinking a ball, but there's not much space here. So what if we give him like a balloon that's coming up here somehow? And then, I don't know, we'll have to fill in the rest of the area somehow. So feathers, let's do some drooping kind of feathers. They'll be like leaves. And then we'll give him a balloon. And then somehow we'll have to fill in the rest. So I think that's my plan. But that's where I started. The idea of, ooh, it'd be fun to do feathers again. All right. I'm excited about that balloon too. All right. So we need to start out by making our like mini quilt here. And I'm going to start with my back fabric. So I've already cut these. We did that in an earlier video. You want to cut your backing so it's just a bit bigger than your front. And then you also want batting. So I've also cut a few pieces of batting. My batting was kind of limited on this, so I didn't go all the way to the edge, but it is still going to be bigger than my piece here. And this is a great opportunity to use some old batting that you have around. Like I just am using all kind of scrap batting. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I wonder, let's measure this, because we have been having to do some repairs on these blocks, and that's just where we're adding some white edge all the way around, in case we think it's going to end up being smaller. I actually think that we're going to be fine with this particular block. Like, let me show you, for example. Let's see. Let's look at this guy here. So this one that we did last night, I did not have enough edge at the bottom of some of these blocks, so I had to add a little bit of white, so we can kind of peek under the hood here a little bit. So I had all this edge where this block wasn't big enough, and it's just because the nature of quilting kind of pulls the fabric in. So my 6.5 inch block ended up being a little too small for what I needed it for at the end. So, I wasn't able, this is too big of a gap that I needed to fill it in with some white fabric. And we were talking that it would probably be easier to do any of those sort of repairs at this stage. But I think all of these, at least these two, we've made bigger already. We've kept them larger than what the 6.5 inches is. So I think we might be actually okay with this whole entire block. I'm going to measure it quickly, but I think we can just keep going with it. All right, let's get the ruler out. My block is going to end up being 13 inches when we cut it down. Yeah, so we're 13 and like a quarter. Let's see up here. Oh, see now up here we're just at 13. So I'm kind of wondering, you know what? I think before we get too far, I think we may want to sew a little strip of white onto here, just to make sure that this particular side is large enough. Ooh, I don't really have I don't know if I'll be able to actually do this with, I might have to like free motion quilt this. We'll see how that goes, because I have this other machine out. So I'm going to just give that a try. So I'm going to get my table out here. I have my free motion quilting foot on here. I'm wondering if I can just kind of quickly figure out how to add a little bit of edge here. I'm going to just make it a little bit longer by sewing this together. This could be a totally stupid idea, but let's give it a go. We're experimenting here. All right, so I'm going to just free motion quilt a 1/4 inch here. Oh my gosh. I've never done this before. Okay, yep, that's a disaster. I think we're gonna have to get the feed dogs up and do this over. I thought I could maybe do a little sewing here, but let's see. Let's retry this. I'm gonna put the feed dogs up. This machine, the feed dogs are kind of broken right now, so let's see if I can hold them up. I might just nix this idea, but we'll see. All right, well, yeah, we are going to nix this idea. This is not working at all. Like, I'm trying to, like, free motion quilt a seam. That's not working. You know what? I think we're going to just continue with this as if it's big enough. And if we have to repair it, we'll do it later. Oh, a ruler. I could try that. All right, let's try that first. We're going to do this one more time. Let's see. So we have... Here we go. Here's one of my grippets. This is so I can move a quilt around while free motion quilting, but it also has a built-in ruler. So I'm wondering if I can sew this together with a ruler. We're definitely gonna have to trim this. Let's see if I just prop this up. The problem is I still have to hold the feed dogs up because this machine is kind of broken. So let's grab these. We are full on experimenting. Oh yeah, I could also sew by hand. You're right, Terry. The trick is I'm going to have to actually sew this to the other piece. So if we can figure out a way to do this here, that'd be awesome. All right, so now I got to hold up the feed dogs from underneath. All right, this is ridiculous. I think we need to stop this. We are going to just do this with the other machine later. But that's interesting. So there we go. There's my perfectly beautiful straight seam. Yeah, that's not working. All right, so forget that idea. Get those feed dogs back down. There, you can see them. Oops, you can see them kind of popping up and down here. The problem is if I push on them, they stay down. So, like, I have to hold them up with the machine here. This is my broken machine that only works for free motion quilting right now. So we're gonna just use it for free motion quilting, I suppose. All right. Okay, you find your blocks do not draw in as much if you do a stitcher on the block before you free motion quilt. Okay, well, let's give that a try, Catherine. I'm all for that. So Catherine is saying that if we stitch around the edge first, it might not suck in as much. So the problem is that as I stitch, it is kind of grabbing more and more fabric and it's pulling in like that. And then we end up with an edge that's pulled in and then it's too small, really, and we have to fix it. So, all right, let's do that. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program here now. I'm going to tape this down. And you know what? I think I'm going to tape it to a ruler so it doesn't hurt my table. I'm going to just tape it to here. Oh, Patty, we may be running out of bobbin thread today too. We are going to see how it goes. I hate to, I don't need all this tape. I hate to take the bobbin out and start a new one. I'd like to just finish it, but yeah, I suspect we may be running out of bobbin today, but we'll see how it goes. We could give it a little check and then maybe do some more bobbin tonight. All right, so I am just taping this down. I want the background to be flat here. And I'm going to get the four corners too because it is getting a little bunchy there. So what we want to do is just hold this in place, you know, without any of these wrinkles. We don't want to really stretch it out. We just want it without any wrinkles. This is just like if you were doing this on the floor for a full quilt, but we're just doing it for our little mini quilt here. All right, so here's our batting. I think this is just that bamboo batting that I had. Again, I'm using all different battings for this whole thing. Ooh, it's so soft and drapey though. I like this one. Okay, and then I'm just gonna get this right in the middle. Kind of spread it out so there's no wrinkles. And then I am gonna get my curved safety pins out again. Oh, Bonnie, congrats. That's an event. All right, let's pin right in the middle. These are my curved safety pins, so you can see they're like a normal safety pin, but with a little bump in the middle. And that helps go down and up, that extra bit. And what we're using it for is to hold all of these three layers, the front, the batting, and the back, to hold all three layers in place while we quilt. This is also called basting. When you temporarily hold something together, that is called basting, and this is pin basting. We are temporarily holding our piece together with pins. You can do it with a spray, like a spray glue. You can baste by stitching things together. But the whole idea is that you're temporarily holding something together. So I'm just kind of grabbing little areas here. Just kind of mainly the middle and the corners. Ooh, the nice thing about doing this on a cutting board like this is if I need to move this whole project, like immediately, like if I need to move immediately right now, I can just grab the whole thing. I'm going to be taking it off of it in a moment here, but it is kind of nice not to have it exactly on the table. All right, get this last corner. Oh, I got one more corner up there. Oh my gosh, I pulled like the exact perfect amount of pins. I don't have any pins left over. Heh. That's pretty good. All right, I think that's fine. You know what, I might actually move this one up to the corner because that's where all the other ones are. All right, that looks good. So I can now remove it from the cutting board now. Oh yeah, and it's easy on a cutting board to turn the whole thing too. I'm really actually kind of liking, this is the first time I've done it on the cutting board. You know, I got this new white table and I don't want to like put pin marks all over it already. So I'm sure they'll happen anyway. But yeah, I actually really like doing it on the cutting board here. All right, getting rid of my little, oh, this is just painter's tape, just blue painter's tape, that nice temporary tape. It's working super well here. But there, now we have our 3 layers of a quilt. They're all attached. They're basted, so they're temporarily together. We got the batting, the front, and the back. So we are ready to start quilting. Everything is held in place. Quilting is just permanently holding things together. The basting is temporarily doing that, and the quilting, the actual stitching of 3 layers, that's what what quilting is, stitching 3 layers together. That will permanently hold all this. So let's remove my board here, and let's get my extension table back. So this is my adjustable extension table. What's awesome is that I can fit it to any machine. So that's why why there's all these little screws and doodads, is I can make it fit whatever machine I have, which is awesome. And the idea is that I'm making my sewing surface the same height as my machine. So now I can sew like this instead of it, kind of flopping off of the machine. That would be pretty hard for free motion quilting. So I really like this adjustable one because I use several different kind of vintage machines. So I like being able to adjust them all accordingly. All right, so I only know 2 things so far, that I want to do some feathers here and that I want this balloon. So I'm just looking at one of these other squares that I did. Here it is. It has this kind of another tree, and it's easier to see on the back. But I did like this whole kind of scene, but I like kind of these feathers. I have these little feathers coming out of this tree, and so they look like leaves and branches. I'm wondering if we do something similar to this. So let's just take a look at this. I kind of want them to droop the other way though. So I'm wondering if we, and maybe it doesn't have to be a tree, but maybe we just still like kind of droops this way. Ooh, we had a low connection there for a sec. So am I back for you guys? Let me know. I think we cut out there for a moment. So if we cut out completely, I will try and load this up again. So it'll be in a new video if we cut out. But so keep an eye on that. If we completely cut out, keep an eye for a new video. Okay, you're okay, Jennifer? Okay, good. All right, so I think I'm going to make 3 kind of droopy bits. We could actually keep drooping all throughout this block. Should we just kind of keep making droopy things? I kind of want to do that. Let's start there. I'm going to start upside down, and I'm just going to make droopy leaves here. Oh, fine for you guys. Okay, good. All right, good. We're back up. It did hiccup. Oh, okay. Yeah, it like went black for me for a second there. All right, but first I am gonna go around this edge, like Catherine was saying, and maybe that will help keep this from pulling in too much. Because again, we don't want it to pull in because we're gonna have to cut this to 13 inches, and it's like exactly 13 inches now. I don't want it to pull in at all. So let's go around the edge. We can actually get rid of these outer pins right away too, so that's a nice bonus. Gosh, we could even attempt this with a ruler. I think I'm going to just wing it. This particular presser foot that I have on here is the Westerly presser foot, but it's thick, so it's meant to kind of be used with rulers, which would be great for a nice straight line here. But again, I'm not sure I really need it. I'm just going to go down the edge, freeform it. So I'm going to try and stay within that 1/4 of an inch though, because I don't want it to actually be part of my design. I want it to be, after I trim this down, I want it to be like in the seam allowance. But we're just going to kind of tack this down. So first I need to bring the bottom thread. So the bottom thread is still underneath here. I want to bring that up to the surface. So I'm going to just kind of reverse here with the wheel, and then pull on the upper string here, and that will kind of pull the thread upward, the bottom thread to the top. So I'm going to just pull that through here. There we go. So now both of my threads are at the top, and that's what we want for free motion quilting. All right, let's put the presser foot down. I'm going to try and make this as high as it can go. You want to have your foot kind of hover right on top, but without putting like pressure on. And this foot just barely gets high enough for me to do that. So I think we're good right there. Let's do a couple stitches in place. Oops, wrong sewing machine. I got two sewing machine feet by me. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna get rid of this guy right away. All right, let's attempt to slowly go around this edge. You know what? Let's get the gloves on. Actually, let's use our grippets. So here are some grippets. I think this will actually help. These are a fun little tool. You can actually use it for curves and for straight lines. And if you don't want to wear gloves, like if you don't like wearing the gloves, these are kind of a perfect little way to keep everything in place. And I'm actually kind of pulling on my fabric here because I want it to stay that 13 inches. So I'm just going to kind of pull on it. Get that fuzzle out of the way. And I'm going to just go down the edge here. You know, I could actually use this for a ruler, so I can... There we go. That's probably the smarter way of doing it, using it as a ruler. All right, let's get this pin out. All right. Again, I'm going to use the grippet as a ruler, and we're just going to get that little outer edge. I am trying to kind of stretch it out a little bit. All right, that looks good. Just rotate it. So I didn't really need to lift that up. I'm used to, this is free motion. I'm used to having the foot on there where I have to lift it up to turn, but there we go. This is all we're doing. We are stitching around the outside, so hopefully it won't suck in as we're doing the rest of the quilting. So let's use this as my ruler again while I try and stretch this out a little bit. Attempting to free motion a straight line. Again, I'm just still trying to get right on the edge here. I think I'm going to remove this pin too. Yes, Christy, next week we are doing the embroidery of the month. So our embroidery of the month this month is the flower garden. And I'm going to just shift down here. This is a little bit bigger piece. The flower garden is so cute, I think. It's got a little cardinal or a little birdie. You can make it whatever color you want. And a chipmunk. And a really pretty bouquet of flowers in a watering can. So that's this month's embroidery, and we are going to be working on that starting next week. All right, we got that bottom edge. So this is where it had different, the edges stopped in a different place, so I just shifted down a little bit. This one I think will be totally fine within that 6.5 inches. This one might be a little iffy, so I wanted to get close to the edge on that one. I think this is going to help immensely the stitching around the outside, so I appreciate the tip for sure. I think this is going to help us a lot with this block. And we'll see if it does really help a lot, then we'll do this for all the other blocks in the future. Yeah, I have no idea what this one I think was Balancing Act. That really sounds familiar. That name of the block. Again, these are all from the Splendid Sampler 2 quilt-along. Is it quilt-along or stitch-along? No, I can't see the book by me. But the Splendid Sampler 2 book. And we're about halfway through. This is a little goofy doing this because I am trying to stretch this out as I go. Hey Lisa, we are making the Splendid Sampler to quilt. Today we're gonna do some free motion quilting. I'm kind of doing the prep work of just tacking down the edge before we do the actual fun quilting in the middle. Oh, Milk and Cookies was the Dresden plate one. We finished that one, didn't we? I think we must have quilted that one already. I decided to not do the ruler anymore. I'm just gonna use this as to help move the fabric and pull it taut. All right, now we're coming up to the pretty willow. This is the one where I want to put all the leaves in, or the feathers. Oop, there we go. Okay, and we have just a little bit more to go, and then we can get started for real here. All right, I think we did. Uh-oh. You guys, look! Oh my gosh, where did that happen? Okay, we ran out of bobbin like half of a block ago, you guys. Ah! Well, boo. All right, so let's, oh, it feels like it's in there yet. What the heck? Oh, you know what? I think this just got all weird on me. Hold on. We do have bobbin in here yet. All right, you guys, this is just being dumb. I think we have enough bobbin to get around the horn here, but then we will need to do some more. So we did have enough bobbin. It must have just came out here. Oh, when did I start making the individual squares? Oh gosh, when did we start? I think at least a full year ago. It might be going on 2 years, honestly. I mean, this has been going around, on for a long time here. My mom has been done for ages and ages, so it didn't take her nearly as long as it's taking me, but I'm only working on it a little bit every week. All right, you guys, it is clearly going to be one of those days. All right, I'm getting that top thread underneath the foot here. Goodness, let's see if we can deal with the evening here. Did you forget to put the book? Oh, maybe I don't think I ever lifted the foot up when I pivoted, so I don't think that's the problem. All right, I have to get the bobbin thread up again now. Here, hold on, let's see if I can do that. All right, come on now. What the heck? Oh my God, you guys, I am not even in the needle. Oh man, it must have been a long day or something. I did get up early. Maybe I've just been up too long. I did not even get the thread in the needle here. What the heck? All right. Sheesh Louise here, people. Oh, June 2018, you think? With the first 20 blocks. Oh, you know what? That sounds really familiar. Because we were getting free blocks for a while, weren't we? All right. We are, like, ready to go again here, you guys. But we will need to make some new bobbin thread. Oh, did I not just get this to the top? Oh, jeez. There, I'm trying to get my bobbin thread to the top again. But apparently I'm not able to function tonight. I know, right? Right, Arloa? That's what it feels like. I'm just like, what the heck? It is one of those nights, apparently. All right, I'm good to go again. Let's get a couple stitches in there and go around the horn again here. At this rate, I do not know if we will get this one done tonight, but we will for sure tomorrow. That's the thing, Noeline. I do not feel tired. I mean, you know, not more than usual, but it's just one of those days, I guess. All right, that's a little... It is a little tough to quilt right on the edge here. But I still do like this idea of sewing it down. So ideally, I would have... Ideally, I would have sewn this down, not with the quilting foot, but again, this machine does not stitch anything other than this quilting at this time, because it's the feed dogs are stuck in the down position. So normally I would have just literally in 2 seconds sewn all the way around this with a normal sewing machine, but again, I am having issues with this particular sewing machine. However, it works perfect for free motion quilting. At least that's the theory. Proving that myself wrong tonight, though. Gosh, I'm getting this all kind of bunched up, too. All right, well, there we are. We will see how we do the rest of the night here. So this, I did not do a very good job. I might actually just pull this out a little bit and stretch it as I sew. All right. And you know what? Just for good measure, I think let's get a new bobbin in here. I'm not sure this is gonna last us all that long. So let's just breathe for a moment, and maybe that will solve all the issues of the evening here. So I do have a bobbin up here. I'm gonna undo the wheel. Okay. So thanks for bearing with me tonight, you guys. Let me know if you guys ever have a night like this. It's just, we're gonna push through though. See where it gets us. Oh, that's a nice song, or a sound. There we go. This is the pedal all the way down. And it still sounds nice. It's much quieter than that black sewing machine. The steampunk sewing machine. I did just oil it, so it does sound nice. Every day and every night you're feeling like this, Robin. Oh, Bonnie, when it's like this, that's when you need a timeout? Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully this was enough timeout. Okay, let's tighten that wheel again. Yes, this is a crack in the case. So I dropped a super heavy shelf on this. It fell from the wall and dropped on this, and there was a big dent, and the top just kind of rattled around. And I brought it to the sewing machine guy, and he got the dent out, and it doesn't rattle anymore, but it cracked the case. So there is a crack on top, which sucks, but it functions now. It used to, the top, after I dented it from the case falling on it, it just rattled around, and it doesn't do that anymore. So it's totally functioning, but yep, it's a sad little crack on top of the case there. In our old apartment, I had this heavy shelf hanging right above it, and the wall, what do you call that? Those things that you put in the wall to help hold it in the wall. It pulled a giant hole out of out of the wall. So those didn't work. I had maybe too many books on it, and it mashed my poor little sewing machine. Poor little guy. All right. We are threaded for real. All right, let's just move the needle backwards to pull up that bobbin thread, and that's basically exactly what we're going to do in the quilt again. All right, breathing time. All right, let's do this for real now. So I am going to do some droopy leaves from here. Like maybe there'll be a droopy leaf here, maybe just right down the middle here, and then here we'll just let's just have a droopy kind of feather as kind of the theme of this quilt. Let's just go all the way down into this one. We won't follow the tree exactly, but the idea of this kind of droopy leaf I kind of like. So I'm actually going to go upside down because I think that is going to be a little easier for me. I think I'm going to draw the line and draw the leaf at the top and then come back down, and then I'll fill in the space with some leaves, or some feathers, I guess. I think that's what we're going to do. And maybe we do several different kinds of feathers. We could do that. Let's just see how it goes at this point, right? Okay, so we'll start here. We'll start right in the middle here. I'm going to bring up the thread from the bottom again. So we're going to pull on that top thread. That should bring up the bottom thread. And there we go. There it comes. There. Now the bobbin thread and the top thread are on top of the piece. You know what? I'm going to put the gloves on for this. I think I get a little bit better motion with the gloves. These are like I use these for cutting, but it works great for quilting too. Maybe the droopy parts can curl around. Ooh, I like that. So we could have it come down and like kind of curl a little bit. Ooh, okay, I like that. All right, yeah, let's add a little kind of movement to this a little bit. All right, I like it. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to just do a couple stitches in place here. You know, really I should probably practice in a different section first, but we're just going to go for it. So, all right, my plan is to draw a nice kind of like a pretty S-curve shape with a little kind of bloop at the end. And we'll draw a leaf at the end, then we'll come all the way back, and then I'm going to draw like petals on the way up and then on the way back down or something like that. Maybe I'll do them both at the same time. We'll see. Maybe the droopy part can follow the curve of the block. Oh, I like that, Charla. Okay, we do have that funny curve, these curves here. Let's do that, because then we have kind of a theme. We've included that bottom block in our theme. Okay, I like it. Let's do it. All right, so I'm going to press on the pedal. I'm going to go quick with the pedal and slower with the hands. All right, so I'm going to add a little S curve, just subtle. I'm going to keep moving my hands. All right, and I'm kind of following this curve just a little bit. And I think let's add the leaf right here, and then it can kind of get into this elephant area later. So let's add a little curl. Oop. I got a little stuck there. We have this kind of bias strip that's I'm sitting up. Yeah, it's kind of the underwear block, yes. Okay, should we add a little curl like a fern? Decisions, people. I think let's add a little leafy bit to the end. We could do pointed. Let's do curvy leaves instead of pointy leaves. Although pointy leaves are awfully cute too. Let's do curvy leaves. All right, so now I'm gonna add that little kind of end leaf. We could probably make leaves on the way back as we go. Should we do that? I think let's do that. Trying to come up with a plan here. There, see, we have that little bloop there. Oh, it does kind of look like a menorah, doesn't it? That droopy block. All right, I'm gonna continue to make these kind of droopy leaves in here. It's an awkward space. It's gonna come across when we do these outer leaves a little bit better, but I think this is kind of fun. I gotta remember to breathe, you guys. This is where I stop breathing. So I'm much better at making like petals or leaves like this in the opposite direction, so I'm kind of like full concentrating right now. I think it's looking cute. I'll definitely show you guys how this is looking in a sec here. I'm having trouble jumping over that little edge there. So I'm trying to make kind of teardrop shapes coming off of this middle line. And again, I think I'm a little bit bigger or a little bit better the other direction. So we'll see how we go. But I just think these feathers look so fancy. It makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. So this is one way of doing a feather. We can try a bump back feather after this one, maybe. All right, and I think I'm gonna just kind of mimic a final feather here. There we go. All right, so now I'm gonna just kind of travel to our starting point here again. All right, I'm gonna do a first petal here, and then I'm gonna do like the pretend petal. Like this little bump here, that's just so it looks kind of like I keep calling them petals, but you can call them feathers or leaves. But let's do our little pretend one here, our little extra bump. All right, back to the beginning again. All right, now we're doing the other side of the feathers here. I think we'll come up from the bottom and then come over on the top. There, that looks good. So I'm trying to match them so there's the same amount on either side, but if that doesn't end up working, I don't really care. But there, see, you can kind of start to see the little petals showing here. I'm literally holding my breath, you guys, though. I gotta stop. So I do like doing that stem from the beginning because then it gives us a little bit of a guide. There's a way to do these feathers where you don't start out with that stem. And I find that a little more difficult. All right, we're starting to go around that curvy area. I think I'm gonna try and stay within this yellow part. But we'll try and kind of like fill it up a little bit. Oh, it's looking so pretty. So I'm making these outside petals or leaves or whatever feathers a little bit bigger than how it curls around here. Where should we stop the curl? Should we go, I think we should go all the way in here. We'll just bring it all the way around. We'll go next to the elephant here. And then go around. And then I think I'm gonna do that echoing, like what we did a couple nights ago with the sunshine quilting. I love echoing, and I feel like it calls out a shape a little bit more. Like, I'm afraid if I just do a bunch of dense quilting around this shape that we'll kind of lose our feather. But if we echo it a little bit, I think we'll get the look. Ooh, that one was a little goofy, maybe. All right, I think we'll get one more in here. Oh, I went over the top for that one. That's fine. Yay, our pretty feather. I'm telling you, I feel fancy when I do these feathers for sure. All right, I'm gonna just kind of trace up around this one, and then I'm gonna just start echoing this whole thing, I think. So I'm just going back in the same spot here. And now I'm gonna use my foot. So this foot is about 1/4 of an inch from the needle to the outside of the foot, and I'm gonna use that as a guide to bump around this 1/4 of an inch. Oh, I missed, oh gosh, before Catherine's question, I missed your question. Catherine, oh yeah, so sorry you guys. It's a little harder for me to look at what I'm doing here. Actually, you know what? I think I might, okay. I think I might go back to the middle here, and I think I'm gonna trace around the inside of this again so I can get to the bottom, and then we'll bump around this whole thing. I think that's maybe a better idea. So I'm gonna just come all the way back down and around. I'm coming back down the stem. It'll give the stem a little bit more heft too, I think. I'm always trying to move my hands. There we go. Now I'm gonna bump around. All right, and my stitches are looking a little not the best on the back, so we'll just see how this goes for the rest of the night here. All right, I'm gonna go to the edge now. Let's snip these little fellers off. This is where we started. Don't need those anymore. All right, I'm gonna bump around the edges of these, or echo. I'm gonna echo these. So getting to the side. And now here's where I'm gonna align the edge of my presser foot with what we've sewn before here. And I'm just gonna bump around what we've already sewn. I'm going a little bit bigger, but I'm still using the outer edge as a guide. I think this is gonna actually look really pretty. And on the back, this will call out the piece. You know what? I think my presser foot is just, that's what's going on here, you guys. My foot isn't attached all the way. There we go. All the the motion was loosening it up, I think. Oh, I love this little echo look. So this is getting us all the way to the edge too, which is great. We're filling a lot of space pretty quickly with this feather. Okay, we're to that elephant, and I think I want to echo around that elephant too later. You know what? This looks like a good time to get rid of the center guy here. Whoop, that's our last pin. Catching myself holding my breath again. Gotta breathe. Whew, all right, we made it back to the other side there. So this is what we got so far. We got the feather kind of drooping up around here. Oh my gosh, that looks pretty. I am loving how that turned out. Look, it's so fancy. All right, and then we've traced it with those bumps, which is just like putting a frame around it, really. I think that's looking really kind of fun. Yeah, we're framing it with those bumps. All right, so in theory, I mean, I kind of covered the whole entire tree there, but I kind of like this idea of just kind of continuing these feathers. Somehow I want to get to this elephant though, and I'd like to do that balloon kind of coming out. You know what, you guys, we're already pretty late here tonight. I think this actually might be a good time to just take this off the machine, and then tomorrow, since I'm at like a really good spot up here, then tomorrow, why don't we just start the stitching right around this guy and then do the balloon, and then we'll fill out the rest of the space. So I think that's maybe the best route. So we got kind of half of it done, really. I know we took a long time to get going tonight, sewing down the edge, but I'm hoping that's working for us. But yeah, so tomorrow, let's start by tracing this elephant. We'll just like directly trace him. Then we'll draw a balloon. We can have a big old balloon. Maybe we'll have a lot of balloons. Let's do that. He could be holding a whole pile of balloons. We can kind of trace that, like echo that how we did this some guy here, and then we'll have to fill in the rest of the space somehow. So we'll have to figure that out tomorrow. But tonight, I think you can see on the back a lot better. We got our little kind of ferny frondy frond with our little curve in there. I love that. Thanks for that suggestion of the curve. I think that just is so sweet. And it kind of brings in, this kind of goofy block that we have here. It connects this block with this block really nicely. I love it. So yeah, tomorrow we'll start a whole new theme. We'll do the elephant, some balloons, and then we got to fill in the excess somehow, some sort of like tight filler, maybe a bunch of little squiggles or something all the way around, just to really make these kind of pop. I'm liking it, you guys. All right, good time to stop. I am going to flip you guys around. We'll call it an evening here. All right, hello. So we did not finish, but that is okay. Gotta have patience sometimes, I suppose, but there we go. I am really happy with that. Let's call it a fern. I'm really happy with that fern. And I think, it'll be cute because the balloons will kind of go up in this area. We have a nice space there, and then we'll all get filled in. That's the fun of these blocks, is you can really just play around and experiment. What'll be neat is seeing tomorrow how how well that stitching around the outside did. I'm hoping we end up with our 13-inch square. I don't know if we'll quite cut it tomorrow. We might just leave it till next time, but it is fun to see. It's just so fun to see those fancy feathers. All right, thanks you guys. I will get this up on YouTube. Feel free to fast forward through the first half and check out how to do this feather if you wanted to jump to that. So thanks again, you guys. And I'll be here tomorrow and we will finish this guy up. So see you guys tomorrow. Have a great evening.